Welcome to the 15th of November for the daily NaNoJumo. Today I am doing the KraaftShaak.com Design Team's prompts, and that is fairies. Now, I thought about all kinds of things of cutting fairies out of, sticker books and all sorts of coloring books and stuff like that. Then I got to thinking that I just wanted one little fairy. And so I went through and I found this page in my journal, and it's kind of spattery, it's kind of messed up, so I need to add a background to it. It's not going to be doing it just as it is. So first I laid down a little bit of gesso, and the reason that I laid down the gesso and brayered it on was to protect the page underneath a little bit, to give the watercolor paints I intend to use a little bit of a base so that they don't bleed right through the page, and to give a little bit of differentiation in the resist and absorption of the page. So then I went into my big huge box of washi tape and pulled out 3 different washi tapes. The first one is this black and white banner one, and I'm pushing it down constantly and trying to get the tape to adhere nice and strong, nice and solidly. And then I'm grabbing some music notes and adding it into all the blank spaces. All of these, I believe, are from Michael's or the dollar store, probably Michael's. And I couldn't tell you which brands. I'm sure some of them are in my mind's eye, or my mind's eye, and some of them are recollections. But otherwise, I don't know. So I'm just adding in the 3 things here, and I'm just adding them for a little bit of differentiation, a little bit of contrast in the background underneath the watercolor that I'm going to add. And then I'm going to make sure everything is dry and stuck down nicely, and I'm going to add a little bit more. I added a lot, but I'm going to add a little bit more gesso on there just to wash out the solidity of the washi tape, because that black is very, very in your face, I guess you could say. So I am going to run some gesso over that too, and once again that will allow differing levels of absorption from the watercolor crayons that I'm going to put on. Now, if you've been watching my NaNoJumos, you will, I say Jumo, but I don't know if it's right. If you've been watching them, you know that the hearts that are punched there on the right or on the left-hand side there, those are from the other journal page that I did, where I used the hearts in order to make her hairstyle. Well, I punched so many hearts out of my jelly plate prints that I just kind of threw them into my scraps bucket, and so now I'm pulling them out again to use them for today's. The first thing I did after the gesso was dry is I colored it randomly with my Neocolor 2s, and the first one was turquoise blue. The second color was really dark, and that's a Prussian blue. And the third one was about a medium blue, and that's called ultramarine. And then I'm taking my nasty old ratchety scrubby brush, water brush from some elementary school that found its way to my collection. And I am using that to liquefy it. And the reason that I chose this brush is because I wanted to rub on the paint on the page, because I wanted the texture of the gesso to not hold the grit of the crayon. So I wanted to make sure that I got all of the color actually liquefied and moved around on the page. Now, I didn't like all the white space that was in here. I should have allowed it to stay because it kind of gets a little cloudy. And so I tried to add in this blue again, but it was contaminated because the brush was dirty. And so I decided I was going to dry it first. And where I had puddles, I'm going to grab my pipette, and I'm going to take the color out of there and spatter it all over the page. And I really like that. I should have left the page just like this, because I think that at this point it's absolutely fabulous. But I didn't. I never leave anything the way I like it, because it's not done. So I keep going. I dried it and dried it and dried it until it was absolutely dry, because I wanted to go back in with my lightest color of Neocolor 2. So I go and take that and scribble it in there a little bit, and then I take my scrubby brush once again and I liquefy that. And you kind of get an impression that I've taken away all the white space, and I really have. I've added in this turquoise blue, and it's not doing what I wanted it to do. I wanted it to bleed again, to move again, but it adhered to whatever residue was left over from the last layer, and it kind of just stuck there. So this is what I end up with, is this mixture of the light blues and the dark blues, and I don't know. If I would have taken a step back, that's where I would have left it. But it was done, and now I am just spattering, thinking, this is my background. I don't have to worry too much about this. It's just paint and paper, as Sherry always says. It's just paint and paper. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to spatter it, spatter it, spatter it. Then I'm going to dry it all out with my heat gun, my heat tool. And then I'm going to start gluing on hearts. My thought process here is that the hearts are going to be balloons. So I'm going to glue them on in a nice big pile of balloons, and then I'll draw the strings in later once I have my little fairy hanging off their big pile of balloons. So I tried to draw, I cut the stuff out, but after I'm done drying this, I tried to draw a fairy. And I did it in pencil, and I didn't like it, so I erased it. And then I drew it again, and I didn't like it, so I erased it. And then I kind of drew it in pen, because I gave up on the whole thing. And I didn't like it, so I had to find something to cover it up. And so you'll see the fairy at the end of how I dealt with that big mess of, you know, being unsure of what I actually wanted to achieve. So as I'm putting these hearts on, I'm putting a little bit too much stuff on the back, and it's all kind of pushing out the sides. And I'm trying to pick it up before it dries, because it'll resist whatever I put on next if I leave it on there. And I didn't know if I was going to go around in pen or watercolor, or what I was going to use next. And so I wanted to make sure that I cleaned up around the edges of the hearts once I pushed out the extra medium. And then I'm just trying to connect them all down to the one spot so that I know that the strings will all come together and I'll have enough strings in the end. And I'm saying oops here and there and adding extra things in underneath other things, thinking that maybe the little balloon should be closer and the big balloon should be farther, and so on. But it all works out, and I like how it's turning out. And I didn't think that I thought I had to pay more attention to how everything was going together. But when it's balloons, it just depends on the length of the string. So I stopped worrying about it, is what I'm saying. And so then I just took my pencil and I drew in the lines so I would know which direction to draw them in later, because I didn't want to accidentally go around something that shouldn't be going around. It should be direct lines. So once I'm done throwing on all of these hearts, I have to let that dry a little bit. So I push them down and smooth them out and count them to make sure I have an odd number, and then press them down a little bit more. If I was thinking, I probably would have put something heavy on top just to push them down while I did the rest of this part, but I didn't bother. I just kind of kept pushing them down with my fingers, and it worked out. I really like using this heavy gel from Golden rather than using the matte medium, and the reason for that is that these jelly prints are mostly printed on cardstock, and so with the heavy weight of the cardstock, it's hard to get the matte gel or the matte medium to hold them down. So having the heavy matte gel, the heavy matte gel, that really helps me to get everything to adhere much more quickly. So then I decide I'm going to go straight to pen. I'm going to draw this fairy, and however she goes on is how she goes on, and that will be fine. And so I draw this little fist, and I draw the little strings from the balloons, and I realize I'm going to wreck my pen if I keep going into these balloons like this. So I stay away from the balloons, and then I think, okay, well, I'm going to draw her little arm, and she's so tiny, I'm just going to use triangles in order to create her. And I figure, okay, so one arm is up, the other arm is straight down, and she's got a little dress on, and she's got these cute little legs. But by the time I draw the other hand, because I thought she'd be facing forward, by the time I draw the other hand, I'm like, what am I doing? She's got like this tiny little body, and her hand is bigger than her head. Like, I can't draw. I'm not going to draw today. Today's not the day for drawing. So I decide I have to find something to cover this up. I don't want to put gesso over everything. I don't want to mess this all up totally. So I scrounged around and looked around my desk, and to my delight, I found some wings sitting here. And I thought, you know what, my fairy does need wings. It'd be good if she had some wings. So I grabbed this sticker and I put it on there, and it covered up most of the hideous fairy. And, you know, I don't usually reach for stickers because stickers, they become unglued here and there. So I don't really like using a sticker, but I thought, you know what, this one needs a sticker. And then I got to thinking, okay, well, I don't like that face. It's kind of an evil face. What am I going to do with this crazy face? So I thought, okay, well, least of all, I can, you know, put some gesso over top, and then I can draw on a proper face later on, and everything will be fine. So I gesso over top of all my horrible, horrible drawing. It's horrible drawing. I'm glad I did not zoom in to show you the horrible drawing. And so I go and I'm like, you know what? This is great. Her wings are in the background. This is the back of her wings. Why did I stick the sticker on? Oh wait, she can face away from me. That will make her much easier to draw if she faces away from me. And that's what I did. I went and made sure that I covered up where her hair would be because I wanted her to have big floofy hair and a big floofy tutu. And then I moved on to another part of the page to let the gesso dry. So I am coming in here with my Stabilo, black Stabilo pencil, and I've been using that a lot. I figure that at some point in time I will run this Stabilo pencil down to a little tiny stub, and then I will be sad and have to go find another one. So I went around every single heart to try and give it a little bit of definition in that big mob of balloons. And then I grabbed my water barrel fine tip water brush, paintbrush, and go around and liquefy all of that. And then I'm sitting there staring at it going, well, they don't really look that balloony, so to speak. So I'm going to have to fix that at some point. And I go through and make sure that's all nice and gone around and liquefied because I don't want any surprises later. And draw in the strings. And then I decide, okay, this is the back of her head. She's got curly hair. She's got long curly hair. I don't want to deal with her waist. I don't want to deal with her shoulders. I don't want to deal with any of that. She's got long curly hair, whether she likes it or not. Drew in her little tutu. Used simple triangles to create her legs and her little feet. And she up, away she goes. She's up in the air. And there we go. I am so happy with how she turned out. She just looks so fabulous to me. That's my opinion, of course. And I love how she turned out. And I'm happy that I decided to do the wings, the butterfly. And I'm happy that I decided to, you know, do her so simply instead of making things so complicated all the time. So there's her pretty dress. I do modify her dress after I turn the camera off. I added some glitter to the dress, and I added glitter to her wings after I turn the camera off, but you'll see that in the final pictures. So now I'm going to go up to the top and I'm going to write something. I know I'm going to write something, and I had to think about that for a little while. And so I wrote out everything, and I wanted just one word per line. And I wanted it to go all the way down the page. And after I got these letters on there, I thought, you know, it would have been nice if I had stamped some sort of something on the page to bring that black back into the sky, because now I have all this blue space, or, you know, what could be termed white space, or background space that I would like to fill up. So I find a solution for that after I have activated the words. And what do you write on a page that has a little fairy floating off with balloons? And that I wrote, sometimes we just need to take flight, ready or not. And in talking to a lot of my friends in a lot of different parts of my life, it's very, very true that a lot of us, you know we have to do certain things, but we don't feel ready to do them, so we procrastinate like me. And so this was a really cute way of telling myself to get off my procrastination, turn it off, and get my butt in gear to doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So because I wanted to put stamping in, but I didn't want to ruin anything, I decided I would just draw in some clouds, and that would give a little bit of differentiation in there. Give a little bit more depth to the background. She's floating off into the clouds. And then I wanted these balloons to be beautiful and shiny, so I grabbed my crystal effects again and filled in all of these beautiful balloons. Now, this first balloon that I did was not a good balloon demonstration because I filled it in, but I filled it in to be this nice, thick, heavy layer rather than how I did the rest of the balloons, where I made the edge and then I just scraped and swirled until it was a nice smooth surface, so that I'm pulling the crystal effects to the inside of the heart with every single one, rather than just going and filling up the heart. So you see, as you're watching there, that glue, the dome of the glue, the surface tension is totally failing. And I thought, oh, I'll just suck it up with the tip of the No, that doesn't work. So I took a brush and cleaned it off and threw it in the water pot. And then if you watch, it's gonna do it again. So I wanted it to stay nice and smooth, so I didn't want to damage the edge by taking off the glue. So I'm just going to slowly scoop that up again and see where I end up. And then I'm going to lay the book so that it's nice and flat, so that it has an opportunity to dry and solidify, even if it's a little bit too high in the, in the dome of the moisture of the glue. So this is how I end this. I had to let this dry for about an hour before I took pictures, so that you could actually see the shine that was going on. And like I said, I took my, I still have my stickles out from the other day. It's the Stardust stickles. And so I used them in order to glitter up her wings and her skirt. So thank you for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and go visit my other friends from the Kraaft Shaak Design Team who are also creating based on the same prompts. Have a wonderful, crafty day. See you next time.